Welcome to Camp Freehold. This is Mandy. Today we are working on making some green tomato and strawberry jam. My mother-in-law brought me the last of the tomatoes from her garden, and I have cut them up, cleaned them up because there were some little spots that we wouldn't want in our jam. And now I'm cooking them down in just a tiny bit of water, and I will add the other stuff after this is cooked tonight a little bit. I added some strawberries to the tomatoes, and now I'm going to stick blend it. Ready, go! Alright, y'all don't need to see the rest of this. Now that it's all pureed, I'm going to add sugar to it. Let's start with 2 cups, I think. A lot of recipes have 1-to-1 sugar, and that's just insane as far as I'm concerned. So I always go lighter on the sugar, which may be why my jams don't always set up reliably. So do as I say, not as I do. Follow instructions, blah, blah, blah. Now that it's come to a boil, I'm going to add 1/3 cup of bulk pectin and stir that around. It's already pretty thick, so pectin might be actually overkill, but here we go. I gotta get all those lumps out because lumps are yucky. So I'm gonna put this phone down so I can stir properly. I'll show you what it looks like when I'm ready. Now that we got a boil that I can't stir down, I've set the timer for 5 minutes. Don't mind all the screaming in the background. Sorry, they're all hooligans. It is ready. And so what we're going to do is we're going to put them into our warmed jars. I did it in the oven like a bad girl. You're not supposed to. They say you could end up cracking the jars. But if you put them in cold, I have not had a single one break that way. And then we're going to leave 1/4 inch of headspace. I leave probably 1/2 inch, but you don't need to leave 1/4 inch for jams. So I'm going to fill all these jars up, and then I'm going to wipe the rims. I wiped our jars. Now I'm going to get the lids out. They make nifty jar lifter doodads. Maybe you should buy one of those, but I don't have one. I did buy these lids in bulk from Lehman's, and let me tell you what, the rubber seal around these are really thick. I am totally impressed. I'm interested to see if they do better than the ball jars, because I think they look like they would. So I'm going to put all of these on here, and then I'm going to screw down the lids. So you put your lid on, and then you screw them down with the ring. Now you only want it to be finger tight. Don't torque it down. That's not what keeps the seal. It's the temperature differential when you take it out. So I can't do this one-handed. I'm going to get off of here. Into the hot water bath they go. So I'm going to lift them all in here. And make sure that they're at least covered with 1 inch of water. If there's not enough water in there, add more water. Go. I ended up having to add some more water. I'm going to put the lid on. And then once it starts to come to a boil, we're going to let it boil for 5 minutes. Here they are out on their towel. One thing to remember is to keep them out of a draft. Not that it's really a problem this time of year since it's cold out. I got all the windows closed, but if you keep them in a draft, there's a chance they could break, so you don't want to do that. And you hear them pinging? This is a very deep sound. Usually it's a pink. I don't know if it's because these are a lot thicker lids. I am really impressed with the quality on these lids. So if they all seal, I think I'm going to buy a bunch more because I bought them in a sleeve and they were fairly inexpensive compared to buying them by the box in the store. But here we are. There's our lovely green tomato and strawberry jam. Since I have everything already set up for jelly making, I'm just going to go ahead and make up different jellies from fruit that are in my freezer. I need room in my freezers for Christmas goodies. So we're going to turn all these frozen fruits into shelf-stable jams. So those frozen strawberries are now cooked down. And I'm going to use the stick blender and blend it all. Blend it up. So now I'm going to add, I don't know, probably another 2 cups of sugar to it. is a third a cup because it fits in my jar where I've got my sugar. Contained a full cup, measuring cup won't fit in there. That's about 2 cups, maybe not quite that much. Here's my little helper down here, playing with the dog. Yeah. I ended up putting in another cup of sugar because it didn't taste quite very sweet enough. So now I'm going to add a third of a cup of the bulk pectin. I'm going to add a little bit for good measure because I don't think I had that quite filled up. And I'm going to mix this in, and then we're going to let it come to a boil until we can't stir it down, and then we will set the timer for 5 minutes. The timer has gone off, it boiled. Now what I like to do is make it strawberry vanilla, and I add a splash of vanilla to it after it's all done cooking. Now we're going to fill our jars like we did before and pop them in. This was a big bag of frozen blueberries I had. I am just going to can them as is with some sugar I added. So I guess they're not as is. But anyway, I am going to can them into pints and use them for making pies. I don't can pie filling. I know people do. I just like to do the berries in the jar and then thicken it once I take it out. I mean, that's entirely up to you, but I think it's easier. And that way it's more versatile and you can use it for other things. So there you go. Ended up with 8 pints of the blueberries in jars. They're all done. It's getting a little late, almost 7:30. If I didn't have to put little Crumb Cruncher to bed, I would have more time. I'm probably either going to attempt another batch of blackberry jam because I found a bag of blackberries that I didn't know about in the freezer, or I might just hang it up for the day. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. I ended up being right. Bo did not cooperate, so I could do another batch of jam, but I did manage to get a pan of mint chocolate chip fudge done. So that'll take a while to set up. It says about 6 hours. So tomorrow morning I'll cut it up, and it'll be lovely. And that was pretty much my day for today. Been a little jam packed. Bye.